Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 11 of the Worst Outtakes. I'm Jay, your usual host, and today I've acquired a friend. Go ahead, say your name.
Hello, my name is Ethan. I'm usually the dungeon master for today and the foreseeable, but not this time.
No, you're in my domain once more.
I've been trapped. You put me in a black oily, I was leaving, well, no, you were leaving my house for the recording, and then you said, hey, Ethan, guess what? And you smacked me, and now I'm here somehow.
That is exactly how it went down.
Yeah, I'm tied to a chair. There's a microphone in front of me.
Yes, anyway, so let's jump back in time. What happened on the last episode of The Worst Outcome? Because that's something we do.
What happened last time in the Worst Outcome episode 11? Fairly tame stuff, kind of. After such a scary thing that happened in episode 10, you guys mainly just brought the bad news to Tanti's older brother, who was not pleased with the things you had to tell him. At that, he actually got incredibly upset, maybe too upset, to be honest. Then, after that, you left his presence, but not before me keeping on frame or keeping on in the scene for just a couple seconds whilst you weren't present, for him to tell his person to keep an eye on you guys. Then you went to the school which Nyland grew up in, the Lyran Wizard School of Wizards, as is formally named. Met Nyland's parents, found out Nyland's turning into a ghost via necrosing. That's what's going on with his finger. And then after, with a very long day, been done and had, you guys went to accommodations, and most of you got sent to a place called the Detention Cube for playing Jenga at the very end of the session.
Right, yeah, I think that's a good summary of what happened in the last one.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about what we are doing today.
Yeah, we're going to tell you about some lore, a lot of information.
Yeah, well, Ethan's good old setting, he's got one of those. It has a lot of gods.
It's got a lot of things.
Gods, yeah. So let's just start going through them, because who doesn't love a lore dump?
Yeah, we're gonna tell you 4 today, but just for the listeners at home, there are 16 primary gods, but we're gonna tell you 4 just to keep you sane.
There will likely be more videos on these, but if you want to find out maybe a little bit more, I'd recommend looking at the World Anvil. It's being constantly updated, and all of the gods we're talking about today are also on there.
But yeah, let's get started.
Yeah, first god. Now, I'm going to need you to say all the pronunciations, just so I make sure I say them right in the future.
Absolutely, this is Atna.
Atna, okay.
Yes.
Now, I would have said Atnu. Alright, so yeah, I did a little bit of research on each of these ones beforehand, compiled some notes. So Atna, they're the god of order and persistence. That's the sort of domain they cover.
Yeah. Effectively, the policeman, or like the judge god. I think Anubis, he judges you, like the Egyptians. Yeah, I think Anubis, the one guy who sits at the front of heaven, who tells you whether or not you're making it in. This kind of guy. That's kind of his shtick. He is your judge.
Yeah. Now, each of these gods, they sort of have an appearance when they manifest. Sometimes they'll have a bunch, but not Atna. He's a simple fellow. He's just a man with no definable race, made of copper, and he's dressed up all nice, isn't he?
Yeah. I was thinking about it when I was reading it. It was just like, I hope people, when they read this, assuming that you're watching this on YouTube or you're using the video feature of Spotify or whatever you're using, but with just the words alone, you'd assume that he'd be naked, but no. Okay. So, well, we already got the basic summary. His entire thing is that although he is a god, he also works as the impartial opinion, the judge that, he is the person that is to be the most unwavered, factual truth. He is the judge, the god that judges. You can see through his holy symbol, the idea of it is that it is a perfectly balanced thing. So there is no wavering in this one's opinion, even going against his followers at times, if it be necessary.
Do not work for him and be naughty, otherwise you will be smitten just like the rest.
What are the followers like, though, now that we talk about them? If they're not, criminals and bad boys, what are they, Jay?
Oh, it's funny you should ask, person who knows what they're like. Yeah.
I forgot. You sent me. I'm strapped to a chair. I'm very scared, Jay.
Oh, that is fair enough. Oh yeah, most of his followers, they tend to act as sort of local law enforcers because, well, their god is all truth and justice and balance and all that. So they're probably the best types of people to judge situations like that. And a lot of them, if to put them in a D&D class, would be paladins. They're big on tradition and don't like change, which I suppose sort of makes sense because change makes all the order and law harder to keep up with. And I suppose Atna probably doesn't change policies himself, I guess. That is probably pretty unwavering there.
Yeah, that's the correct guess, Jay. Good job.
Yay.
Yay! Don't kill me, please.
Oh, no, you'll live.
Okay. On a matter of worldly impacts, each god obviously has to do something to be worthwhile as a god. His impact onto the world of Trilir, the world which the campaign is set, is that he is accredited for most civilization still sticking around, in a world where there are dragons and there are giants and there are constant threats to the matters of order. A lot of the facts that things still remain running and functioning seems to be accredited to him. But he also is, additionally, like we've said before, he's very similar to Anubis, where he is assumed to judge your soul when you are dead. When you die, he is there to say, "You've been good. You go to one of the heavens," or "No, you've been bad, so you go to the realm of dreams instead." That's his job as well. One of the few gods that actually has an additional job.
That's nice. He's kept busy. But yeah, a lot of gods will have like religious events or holidays. Atna's not like this. He doesn't bother with any of that.
No, he's too busy. He's got to do taxes.
Mm.
I think that's all that we get to know about Atna, though. So let's go to the next person, next deity guy.
Yep. Now say the pronunciation.
Aeolus.
Aeolus.
Aeolus. It's the god of winter. He's got the god of weather. He's the god of thunder and all that stuff, like the clouds and the sky islands. That's where his domain lies.
If it's cloudy, it's Aeolus.
Yeah, just before outer space, that's where he chills.
Yeah.
But we talked about appearances for Atna. What does Aeolus look like, Jay? Or, more so, what does he look like most commonly? Because he's got a few now. This guy's got quite a couple.
Yeah, unlike Atna, he has a few different costumes that he likes to go out in. Sometimes it'll just be a big old cloud. Sometimes it'll look like some sort of weird wolf-bear hybrid beast thing. Not sure why that is.
I guess I could provide some context.
Yeah, this is why we have you around.
Yeah, that's why you stole me. More so, the idea is that with his appearances, he is the voice in the clouds, or he is the beast behind the snowstorm. So when it comes to his appearances, they are usually like you see him in a more so like vision-like way, if that makes sense. You assume it's Atna. You don't know it's Atna. You hear his voice in the storm. You see this creature in the wind and assume it to be him. This is what most assume him to be. His followers are very superstitious, so they take what they commonly see and assume it to be him. But those ones are a little bit less so, where it's just like, maybe that's him. Another one is of what, Jay? Because this is the most common appearance for him.
Yeah, sort of a true form. You remember, viewers, likely, previous outtake, back when we were talking about all the races, there was one called the Cumulin, who are essentially cloudy people. He can take the form of a Cumulin male.
A rather old one.
Yeah, old man, with a bird cage which has white-breasted robins in. Now, is that a real thing in the real world? I've never heard of a white-breasted robin before.
Yeah, they're real.
Ah.
They're quite cute, actually. So yeah, as opposed to the impartial acts of Atnu, Aeolus is a god which is incredibly like a massive show off. The idea of like massive grandeur. This is the god which represents that so well. His entire sort of shtick is performance almost, where every single, everywhere he goes, it's not just, oh, look, there's Aeolus. No, it's, oh, look, there's Aeolus, and he's brought a brand new storm for us. Yippee! Hooray! With most of their followers assuming maybe it's a test, or maybe we did something bad, so now we're going to have to deal with a massive tornado, And then just a massive sort of cherry on top to confirm that it really was him. There would be white-breasted robins wherever that, at the aftermath of all of this chaos of weather.
Yeah, is there any particular significance to them, or is it just cool?
They're winter birds.
Okay. Yeah, so the people that follow Aeolus, the weather is everywhere, so his followers are everywhere. And it's said that the Cumulin were his first followers, which also sort of came from him.
Yes.
Can you explain that a bit better?
Yes. So sometimes in the podcast, you might hear me refer to something as primal-born or God-born. The idea is that God made Adam and Eve in his own image. So assume it from this way, right? Aeolus made the Cumulin in his own image. They are born from this God-born people.
Wonder if that's what mud is. Born of Ignis.
Born of Ignis. Yeah, that might help figure some things out, but unfortunately, you'll have to know on the next time we do what mud isn't.
Segment that I wasn't here for.
Yeah, it's just a me and Reese thing.
Yeah. So a very rare occurrence because I am here to stay.
Well, it's usually a variety show when it comes to me and him anyways. Either way. So we know that now. His God-born followers are the Cumulin, the first followers of him, which is quite convenient. You imagine you have a free following, Like you just sort of you're a god and you're like, cool, I already have people praying to me because they are literally like little versions of me. But in this instance, they're giants that teleport through lightning.
Oh, that's fun. But yeah, so sort of reflective of his big, loud, showy nature, a lot of his followers tend to do a bit of hunting or barbarianism. I guess that's being sort of primal and angry in a lot of those cases.
Pushing that greater than thou personality. Worldly impacts, though. I mean, this one's kind of a given. Weather.
Yeah.
He's the weather guy. He's the weatherman.
He does be doing the weather.
Yeah. You know when it rains? That's him. You know when it's stormy? That's him. You know when it's hailing? That's him. That's him. Yeah. Everyone accredits that to him.
Yeah, you know when a white-breasted robin poos on your shoulder?
That's him. Yeah, it's him.
Yeah.
Every single time. Always him.
He's got some fun ceremonies in that his followers will have one every time there's a lightning storm, and they'll essentially test their mettle against the lightning if they're feeling a bit spicy.
Yes. Yeah. In a most literal sense. Oh, there's lightning going outside. I'm going to try and get striked by it to get a vision.
Next god time.
This one's deliberately written to be weird because the entire idea of the god is that it's the god of knowledge, and to know its name is the fun of it. Try and figure it out, Jay. What do you think his name sounds like?
Golo.
You're probably right. The answer is, every answer is right. I call it Glare.
Glare. Goloau.
Or Golau.
Goloau. You can pronounce it like that if you want to. That's a pronunciation.
Because technically speaking, you're right, but you're also wrong. Yeah. But that's the idea.
Maybe you pronounce it Tony.
Yeah, maybe it's just Josh. If you assume that that's how that sounds, then maybe you're right. That's the fun of this god's name. But what's this god about? I accidentally gave a little bit of a sneak onto what the first part was, but what's the other part?
Yeah, the first part was knowledge. The other part was magic. He's the big brain god.
He's the reason why we got that stuff. This is the reason why we got Magic Missile and a Shardalon Stride and Earthbind and all the other fun ones.
He's also the frog god.
He is.
He's got two sort of appearances. One of which being this massive six-armed humanoid frog Buddha-looking thing, or just a little frog.
Yeah,
just
a
like
generic
genuine
actual
frog.
Frog, yeah.
And why is that? Why is it just little frog?
Oh, well, so this is a little bit of a side tangent, but it is relevant to what the gods can do. These appearances are a finite kind of resource. If for some reason an appearance of a god is destroyed, they can't use it again. So some gods have inconspicuous appearances, such as a regular frog, and that's what Gilead has.
Oh, that's nice. But yeah, so anyway, aside from what they look like, they are either known as the Frog God or the Mage God. They are all-seeing and all-knowing, assumedly, often acting as a teacher or a scholar. So it's a nerd god. It's an incredibly nerdy nerd god.
Although, no, yeah, you're right. Pretty much, I guess, technically speaking. The
Yeah.
nerd god that can teach you to summon meteors.
Oh. But yeah, so because it's the nerd god, most of its followers are surprise surprise nerds. You got your
Wizards.
wizards, you got your
Yep.
scholars, you
Scholars
got
and
your other
intellectuals.
yeah, it's just general smart people. If you're
Mm.
smart, this is the god you want to be godding with. Yeah.
Though, this kind of does show off something interesting. It is assumed that they're currently dead or missing, this god, as their followers haven't been able to communicate with them for many years.
Magic is dead and we killed it.
I won't disclose anything about that, but you're not wrong.
That's everything for Go Lao Ow Ow.
Yeah, for Joshua,
Yeah,
for jargon.
Joshua. Yes. Yes. For context, if you're just doing audio, it is spelt Golloau. Make of that what you will. Yeah, we've only got one more god for you today,
Yes, and it's one of the, at least in my opinion, one of my favorites.
and it's also one of the easiest for me to pronounce. I'm gonna do this one. It's the Far God.
Yeah,
Did I screw that up?
no.
Yay.
A god without a name, it just has a title. It's the one that's far away.
What does that make its domain?
Space. The things beyond the world of Trilia, the moon, the stars, space, and the unknown beyond it. That's where its domain
Oh.
lies. So effectively, all the cool stuff, kind of.
Yeah.
The appearance of the Far God is one of the most nebulous, pun intended, because although these are going to be listed off, it's just as likely that none of these are the Far God, and they're just massive entities, which people have been like, that's probably them. So Jay, care to explain what some of these appearances look like?
Okay, we've got a little list. This is not a definitive list because there may be more,
Yeah.
but breathe in and giant meteor, space with a humanoid outline, asteroid belt in the shape of a face. Oh, that's cute. That's a funny mental image. And a spinning red hurricane. I've not seen one of those before. And more.
Yep. Sometimes even just being a constellation that can speak. But then again, maybe none of that's what the Far God is. It's a god that chooses not to really interact with the rest of the people, so maybe it's just messengers. What do I mean when I say that? Well,
What do you mean?
what do you mean? Speak, damn it!
You didn't explain it to me. Explain now.
Fine, okay. So, the Far God, I've said it before, I said it again. This god's kind of entire sort of shtick, or at least, well, not intentionally so, but this god is the most absent one. They do not want to interact with the world for some reason. They've probably got enough going on being the god of everywhere that isn't home. So maybe that's the reason, we don't know. But the only communication via signs or messengers, and that's what I mean when I say maybe all of those big things are just some other person that was told to go talk to a random guy and tell him, hey, why don't you just figure it out yourself? They tend to only really ask questions or more so grant partial information rather than tell people what they actually want to know if they're trying to seek wisdom from this god. Because they want you to figure it out. That's kind of the fun of it. Not really. They want you to figure it out. That's how they run for some odd reason.
No, I'm just picturing now with the whole asking questions. A giant meteor is rapidly approaching Earth. It stops directly above your head and asks you, "Are you going to eat that?" Before taking your chicken nugget and flying away.
Yeah, a giant meteor with a singular eye. Just like,
Yeah.
it's like Peeps from Regular Show.
Oh yeah.
If that's how that god acts, then surely their followers must have a pretty odd sort of relationship with their gods. Do you know anything about that, Jay? Subtle
Yes,
segue.
I do, because Jay's going to respond to the subtle segue well, because Jay did research on this.
Yes.
Well, you see, the god has a lot of forms, so there are a lot of different religions that worship it. They may think it's a different god. They may think that's just Josh in the sky who tells me secrets, but doesn't actually tell me secrets. He leads me down the path of thinking to find out the secrets myself. But yes, lots of different people from lots of different religions worshipping them, because space is all around us, funnily enough.
Yeah.
And while they are incredibly self-reliant, the followers, just as a general rule, despite any other differences each religion might have, they will do things for themselves. And if there are little disciples, people below them, they will have a similar attitude to their god and let them figure it out for themselves.
Which maybe isn't helpful, but it does get you to the same place that they're currently at sometimes.
Yeah.
Most times. When it comes to worldly impacts, though, you're going to be surprised by this one. It's stuff from outer space happening. Whoa, it's so surprising. No, that's a little bit satirical, but mainly stuff like meteor showers, the sun. Some people think that, we have a sun. It's because of him. Although
Yeah.
they'd be wrong, but some people think it. The moons, the fact that one of the moons exploded ages back, probably him. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
We talked about holidays though, didn't we, Jay?
Yeah. This one has the most consistent selection of holidays out of the other ones. Well, good old Magic Man has none.
There isn't really any. There's sometimes a little thing which is referred to as like the fluctuation or just the flux, just as abbreviating it. But that's not necessarily attributed to the god. It's just something that's done that's magical, which is a consistent celebration. So it could be tied to it, but it's not necessarily.
But yeah, so they've got this good old holiday called the Seluna Nights. When does that happen?
Happens at the start of the year in Genox, the first month. First 10 days of the month.
What would happen for such a celebration?
Well, pretty much it's just the darkest time of the year. Pretty much the sun just for some reason chooses to not show up, and people just celebrate the dark times of the year when getting things ready. It assumes that, well, from the perspective of a lot of people, because of this reason, it's like the sun taking its time off or taking the rest, and a new sun will show up.
The other holiday they have is called a Torch Night. It's a fun one. It happens when there's a lunar eclipse, and it's a collaboration holiday joined by followers of another religion following another god known as Ingram, who's the god of all things hot: fire, light, the sun. You remember Inabrak? That's one of Ingram's kids.
Yeah. Inabrak, certainly the god of mountains and volcanoes. If anyone's specifically interested in learning about some demigods, I'm sure that we could also do another Outtakes talking about it. Or maybe just something less put together. Who knows? But either way, yes.
Yes, I think that's about all the gods we have for you today.
It is. Certainly. And now we do the part at the end of the thing, because we did the start and now we say goodbye. But what do we do when we say goodbye, Jay? Other than let me go from this infinite dark abyss tied to a chair with a shotgun in my face.
Yes, you've earned your freedom for now. Well, if you want to get into contact with us, maybe have some questions about some gods or something, you can message us on Instagram at twodndpodcast, or if you're on YouTube, the comments section works just fine. We have a bunch of other social medias too if you want to look at them. You can also find them at twodndpodcast. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, Ethan. Say goodbye.
It was not a pleasure. Bye!
Bye.